Thanks so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. Good night.
KUAM TV8, home of Super Bowl 60, coming February 9th, 2026. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com and McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it.
On KUAM News Primetime.
Opposition to deep-sea mining remains strong on Guam. Today, lawmakers heard unanimous testimony in support of a resolution to reaffirm that stance. I'm Nevaeh Anderson with more on this next.
A lesson learned over what could have been a serious environmental situation over a chemical spill in Veragata. I'm Mitsuki Hirayama with new details from Guam EPA.
One Guam Education Board member weighs in on proposals that could expand the board's authority. More coming up.
Hafid and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thanks for ending your day with us. With deep-sea mining already under scrutiny, Guam lawmakers are advancing a resolution aimed at reinforcing the island's opposition. Supporters say this moment is about drawing a clear line as federal discussions move forward. Nevaeh Anderson reports.
The word Guahan means we have, a word rooted in abundance and responsibility. That meaning framed hours of testimony as lawmakers considered Resolution Number 132 by Senator Therese Terlahi, reaffirming our island's call for a moratorium on deep seabed mining and opposing a request for information, or RFI, issued by the U.S. Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM. The RFI seeks input on possible mineral leasing across over 35 million acres of ocean near the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, an area that's southern border comes close to Guam shores. While the request does not authorize mining, critics warn it opens the door to irreversible harm. Attorney Julian Uggan of Blue Ocean Law says what's at stake goes far beyond development.
The deep-sea mining envisioned for the waters around Guam and the Sinai is not simply an industrial proposal. It is a profound decision about power, responsibility, and whether extreme and irreversible ecological destruction is something we are willing to sanction in the name of speculative gain.
Blue Ocean Law argues BOEM's process is legally flawed and violates the right of Chamorro people to control their natural resources and to self-determination, recognized for decades under international law. That belief echoed through public testimony from agencies, advocates, and residents, many grounding their opposition in personal connection. Jotnia resident Rocky Estacio spoke about what could be lost.
Tagachang Beach is a gift from previous generations of Zonia residents. It is my obligation to protect and preserve Tagachang Beach for this generation and subsequent generations to follow.
And environmental advocates say this isn't just about science or law, it's about values. Prutehi Guahan's Monica Flores says the wrongness is instinctive.
You don't have to be an expert on the law or the science to know that this is wrong. It is for all of your grandchildren and great-grandchildren and every generation that follows that we must resist this extremely, permanently destructive act.
The concerns also extend beyond Guam. Former U.S. diplomat Emily Wood warned the proposal could strain relations with Pacific neighbors who have already called for a moratorium on seabed mining.
This will put them not only at risk for their environments and health and economies, but it will push them further away from the U.S. and harm our relations as an island.
Testimony supporting Resolution 132 was unanimous, and Speaker Frank Bloss Jr. has confirmed an emergency session this Friday at 9 a.m. to move the resolution forward while urging the public to continue submitting their comments before the January 12th deadline. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
New details on the chemical spill earlier this week that snarled traffic for hours in Veragata. While the responsible party was able to contain and clean up the spill without further impacts, the Guam Environmental Protection Agency says it's a lesson learned for what could have led to serious contamination to our water and soil. Mitsuki Hirayama has details.
On Monday morning, emergency and environmental officials responded to a chemical spill near the Shell gas station in Tizen. Roads were partially closed, snarling traffic for hours until all lanes were back open after 3 p.m. Guam EPA says the incident occurred after a black construction company's transport vehicle load shifted when the operator was making a turn from Route 16 onto Route 10, causing multiple unsecured drums to fall off the bed of the truck. The agency's acting deputy administrator, Glenn Nicholas, says one 55-gallon drum ruptured, spilling a concrete curing compound onto the road and sidewalk, 2 gallons of which went into a storm drain.
But fortunately, the road and the weather was dry and hot, that a lot of the compound dried on the road itself and was collected. And the liquid stuff was collected in the storm drain by personnel from BCC who went into the storm drain to pump it out.
It was a close call as a responsible party was able to contain and clean up the spill before it reached the ponding basin and affect the groundwater. St. Nicholas says if the concrete hardener was released into the storm drain during inclement weather, it could cause significant environmental damage.
That storm drain leads into a ponding basin that is near the service station on Route 10. And if it went in there, then of course it impacts, the soil contamination and possibly the water contamination as well.
While EPA did not issue a notice of violation, he says the Guam Police Department issued the operator a citation. As for the takeaway, he says it's to always secure your load, no matter what you're transporting.
If it's not secure, then what will happen is that it would go airborne and, either crash into another car, or it might spill onto the ground, into the storm drain, and then out into the ocean, or into a ponding basin where it would percolate and impact our groundwater.
Mitsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
In other news, a man facing vehicular homicide charges has been released from custody while awaiting trial. 35-year-old John Mariano Moses was released Tuesday after posting $5,000 cash bail following a hearing in the Superior Court of Guam. Magistrate Judge Sean Brown ordered Moses placed on house arrest, citing the seriousness of the case and the deaths of 30-year-old Charity Mina Berry and her 1-year-old daughter Mina Reen Imi. According to charging documents, the deadly crash happened December 21st when Moses allegedly collided with a vehicle carrying the mother and child as it turned onto Route 1. Both were pronounced dead as a result of the crash. Under the court's conditions, Moses may only leave his home for work, religious services, medical treatment, or meetings with his attorney or probation officer. He is also prohibited from driving and must have no contact with victims or witnesses involved in the case. Moses is scheduled to return to court Thursday afternoon for his arraignment. A 38-year-old man is facing multiple felony charges after a woman reported being taken from a Hoggett home and held against her will for nearly 2 weeks. According to a magistrate's complaint, Cristobal Frank Quintanilla is accused of breaking into a relative's home through a bedroom window in December, carrying the woman to his car and taking her to his residence, where she says she was held for 13 days out of fear for her safety. The woman told police she was able to escape on January 1st while at a store and immediately went to Agate Precinct Command to report the incident. Officers later confirmed damage to the residence where the break-in occurred. Police say Quintanilla was located days later in Hoggett, where he allegedly attempted to avoid detection by wearing a wig before officers recognized him. He is charged with home invasion, burglary, felonious restraint, and criminal mischief. The case remains pending in court. Well, Guam police are investigating a New Year's Day shooting that left a woman injured in Dededo. According to the Guam Police Department spokesperson Norman Analista, officers from the Dededo Precinct Command responded to a home just after midnight on January 1st, where an adult female suffered a foot injury caused by a stray bullet. She was taken to Guam Regional Medical City for treatment. Police say the bullet was recovered and confiscated, and the case remains under investigation by GPD's Criminal Investigation Section. In education news, what do members of the Guam Education Board think about proposals that would expand their authority? With major education reform on the table, we speak with one board member to get their perspective.
As discussions continue on the future governance of the Guam Department of Education and with potential legislation already in the works, education officials are weighing in on several proposals under consideration. One of those proposals would give the Guam Education Board greater responsibility and oversight. GEB member Dr. Ron McNinch sharing his perspective, saying certain situations call for a stronger role from the board.
The other problem with boards is that they kick the can down the road, so to speak, and just delay solving any problems. That's because we don't really have any power and we don't have very much enforcement authority. So developing some of those powers a little bit and enforcement checks a little bit would help a lot.
McNinch also touching on an issue he's been consistently vocal about, reforming board member terms to promote stability and reduce turnover.
The problem is we're elected every 2 years. And I'll tell you, having only 2 years to do anything's not enough. We need to look at extending the terms of the school board maybe to 6 years.
As for the idea of a fully appointed board, McNinch offering his viewpoint from both sides, having served as an elected and appointed member.
So I'm all for electing everyone, rather than appointing people. But if people are going to be appointed, I don't necessarily agree with them having to go to the legislature to get approved. I think that appointees on the board should be functional and appointed and dismissed at will by the governor.
Meantime, Dr. McNinch says he believes current law should allow the governor to play a more direct role in the Guam Department of Education, another proposal now being discussed as part of broader education reform efforts. Looking ahead, Education Oversight Chair Senator Vince Borja telling KUAM the public can expect legislation on the future governance of GDOE soon. This as GEB Chair Angel Sablon confirms with KUAM that the issue will likely appear on the board's agenda during its meeting later this month.
The growing aftershocks from the American raid in Venezuela. Inside that country, new signs of a dangerous crackdown, while across the world, new concerns of American expansionism.
Tonight, inside Venezuela, a regime trying to hold on. A large crowd that state TV says supports ousted authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro, while the government cracks down on any dissent, detaining journalists and police saying they arrested these two people for celebrating Maduro's arrest by U.S. forces.
Realmente la gente no está queriendo salir de su casa.
People really don't want to leave their homes, this Venezuelan man who just crossed the border says, adding there are armed groups outside conducting searches. The region also on edge after gunfire near the presidential palace in Caracas overnight. Witnesses say security forces fired at unidentified drones. Two White House officials tell NBC News the U.S. was not involved. Today, President Trump again touting the stealth military mission that captured Maduro and his wife, bringing them to the U.S. to stand trial.
It was so brilliant. The electricity for almost the entire country was, boom, turned on. That's when they knew there was a problem.
And tonight, President Trump announcing on social media that Venezuela will be turning over 30 to 50 million barrels of its oil to the U.S., adding that the revenue from the oil will be used to benefit both Americans and Venezuelans. The country's future now uncertain under Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez. A U.S. official tells NBC News that a recent classified intelligence assessment determined that top members of the Maduro regime, including Rodriguez, were best positioned to lead Venezuela's government and maintain stability if Maduro lost power. That assessment was a factor in the administration not backing Maria Corina Machado, the exiled opposition leader and Nobel Peace Prize winner. At Venezuela's border with Colombia, relief. Maduro is gone.
Do you support the U.S. coming into Venezuela?
Yes, it was a good stuff, and Trump was right.
Joan Giraldo says his father has been a political prisoner in Venezuela for more than 4 years.
That is the government of Venezuela, a tyrannic government. Maduro was a dictator.
Time for a quick break. You're watching KUAM.
Now it pays to spread the Better Together experience. With our brand new referral program, you can earn up to $150 in account credits for every referral you bring in. That's right, family, neighbors, friends, even your coworkers. Just pass them your account name and account number. When they sign up for Docomo Pacific service and drop your info, cha-ching! Credit applied. So spread the word and start stacking those savings. Additional conditions may apply. Docomo Pacific, we're better together.
Anything's possible.
College is possible. Retirement is possible. Adventure is possible. And so is saving for it all. With our Bank Ohana Savings Special, earn an interest rate of 3.25% for the first 90 days. When you deposit $25,000 from another bank into a Bank Ohana Bonus Rate Savings Plus account, requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So make your savings goals possible.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii.
Welcome back to Primetime. Tuesday, there were two separate events, one held by the Proud Boys to honor Ashley Babbitt, who died that day, and another to honor Capitol defenders. Here's more from Washington, D.C.
On this anniversary of the January 6th attack at the Capitol, many of those who participated and supported the events that happened that day rallied at the Ellipse, where it all began 5 years ago. USA! 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 It was built as a remembrance to Ashley Babbitt, the woman shot and killed by a police officer during the breach of the Capitol. Her mom, as well as the leader of the Proud Boys, who was convicted of seditious conspiracy, imprisoned and pardoned by President Trump, were among the speakers.
I love and I miss my daughter. I'm proud to be Ashley Elizabeth Babbitt's mother.
The word that I'm searching, the thing that I'm searching for is retribution, retaliation. And what is that? It is accountability.
Many of those who turned out were also convicted in connection with the attack, then pardoned nearly 1 year ago. What do you say to those who feel it was wrong for you guys to get pardoned?
Tough. That's tough shit, isn't it? Can't take it back.
They then marched to the Capitol, where they were met with counter demonstrators. Police quickly diffused the situation and kept the groups apart.
I wept for my country that day. And I'm weeping for my country today. You can't whitewash this any longer. It's time to put an end to it.
There was a separate rally in support of the police officers who defended the Capitol that day. More than 100 were injured, and those who died after the attack.
It's important to me as an American. I feel what the officers did that day was to save our Constitution, our Capitol, and the Congress people.
Solemn occasion, time to remember our Constitution and the people who've died protecting it.
It's hard to comprehend how a group of people who claim to support the police would attack the police, attack law enforcement in order to achieve their ends.
And in a statement released Tuesday on the January 6 attack, the Democratic Party of Guam reflects on what it calls the human cost of that day, pointing to more than 140 law enforcement officers injured and deaths reported in connection with the violence. The party says political violence has no place in the nation or in local communities, and is urging people on Guam to reject violence in all forms, engage responsibly, and address differences through peaceful dialogue. The Democratic Party of Guam also reaffirmed its support for democracy, the rule of law, and the peaceful transition of power. In other news, a shear line lingering over Saipan, Tinian, and Rota is bringing patchy showers, cloud cover, and gusty winds for a second day. Wind gusts are reaching up to 30 miles per hour, with spotty showers also affecting Guam and Rota. The shear line is expected to weaken, with drier conditions developing by Wednesday for the CNMI. For the rest of the week, expect improving weather with only spotty showers and moderate to fresh trade winds between 15 and 20 miles per hour. Seas and surf remain elevated due to stronger winds, with combined seas gradually subsiding to around 5 to 7 feet through the later half of the week, before increasing again this weekend. Hazardous surf along north and east facing reefs currently near 9 feet is expected to ease overnight to around 8 feet. Stay weather aware, especially along coastal areas. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a preliminary magnitude 6.4 earthquake struck 27 kilometers east of Santiago in the Philippines this afternoon. The quake occurred at 1:02 p.m. tomorrow Standard Time at a depth of 58.5 kilometers. According to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, there is no tsunami threat to Guam or the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas. In other news, Guam Regional Medical City recently announced that medical staff recruiting and services manager Jennifer Sevilla has earned a national certification in physician and provider recruitment. Sevilla is recognized for her expertise in recruiting and retaining healthcare providers. Hospital officials say the certification supports GRMC's efforts to strengthen its medical workforce and expand access to specialized medical care on Guam. GRMC Chief Medical Officer Dr. Edison Manalato says, quote, Jennifer's achievement is a proud moment for GRMC. Her dedication to excellence and professional growth directly supports our mission of bringing world-class healthcare to Guam. Sevilla shares, quote, working at GRMC has afforded me the opportunity to expand my knowledge in both medical staff services management and healthcare recruiting. She has a long medical history background which began in 1993 at the Guam Memorial Hospital. Well, today marks 1 month until the Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. Are preparations on schedule? In Milan, workers are racing against time to finish construction of the main ice hockey arena. But organizers insist there's no cause for concern. Here's more outside the Rome Coliseum.
As you can see, it has been raining heavily here in Rome and in other parts of Italy, but still the Olympic flame has been burning its way across the country in the hope that in a month this rain will turn into snow. With only a month to go to the opening ceremony, the Olympic torch slowly making its way to Milan and Cortina, from Rome to the ancient ruins of Pompeii, where a familiar face joined the relay, the mountain slopes in the middle of Italy. For many torchbearers, a moment to remember, especially for Mattia Ochinero, a local boxer who on Sunday revealed that alongside the torch, he was also carrying a wedding ring. His future wife said yes to his question. But there is another question around the Olympics that remains unanswered. Will all the venues be ready on time? In Milan, workers are racing against time to finish construction of the main ice hockey arena. And even the ice rink was criticized for being slightly smaller and wider than in the NHL. The International Hockey Federation said the differences are insignificant. But in a press conference last month, the NHL's Bill Daly voiced concerns.
It's all about just making sure we have ice that is safe for our players.
Organizers promise all will be ready on time as opening day approaches. In the meantime, they revealed that Mariah Carey will be among artists performing at the opening ceremony in Milan on February 6th. No doubt all the athletes will want for the Olympics is gold. Among the athletes aiming for gold are, of course, the NHL players who will take part in the Olympics for the first time in 12 years. Also, Lindsey Vonn, who staged an amazing comeback from a 5-year retirement, and now she aims to become the oldest ever alpine skier to win an Olympic medal. And, of course, Mikaela Shiffrin, who also came back from an injury in 2024, stronger than ever, and she is now once again among the ones to beat.
Now for a look at your world at home. As the holiday season closes, we showcase the lighting display here at Skinner's Plaza in Bulgaria.
Tender love and care makes life worth living. Tender love and care, that's what I'll be given. Every day, every night to you.
They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we put it inside burritos and tacos anyway. Crispy chicken from Taco Bell, a brand new classic.
afraid, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
The other team is bigger, stronger, faster. It doesn't matter. We go in there with no fear. That's what we need to believe. We are tough. We go in there and we just do our best to compete. Well, this preseason tournament is an opportunity for our program to grow, build on from last year, to just work on new things that we put into our program offensively and defensively.
Our main goal is definitely to win a championship. I was most excited about seeing where we stand between all the teams.
Actually, a couple things that we challenge our team to prove this weekend is their mental toughness. Just to go into the tournament and just be tough, both defensively, offensively, and just to be able to respond to any type of circumstance that comes their way, whether it's positive or negative, just to be mentally tough on the floor and off the floor.
One goal I want myself for this weekend is to just be a leader for my team, be there for my team, and just basically be the glue of my team. Our main goal this season is to win that championship, but you know we have to get better, grow as a team. My team's chemistry is great. You know we've played with each other for a long time, and we've grown with each other. We've learned most of the things we know. Our vibe and chemistry right now is pretty good. We play outside league together, so I think it's better than most.
We believe there's not one single player to watch out for. Our team is built off a team effort, collective effort, and we just need to work together to be successful.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill, Jamaican grill. What's for lunch and for dinner? You want something good? Yeah. Jamaican grill, yeah man, serious food.
Happy New Year, KUAM! Plates, platters, and parties at your house or ours. Yaman, serious food for 2026.
News Bites is brought to you by Docomo Pacific, Better Together, and Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas.
Yes, I am from Sanchez. Everybody knows that. I'm a proud graduate of Simon Sanchez High School. And you know, it's not just about having a really, really cool mascot. It's also about community service and make sure that we do things that benefit our community. And that is what the Sharks are doing. Now, check out this post, you guys, for the Sharks Run the Wave 2K and 5K. We could have gone with a hammerhead shark, a lemon shark, a tiger shark, and everything is cool. We chose a megalodon, you guys, because that's how we do it at Sanchez, right? And I am so proud of this year's seniors because they are taking everything. They're running this event directly. It's going to be at Chamorro Village. Make sure to register, please, and make sure to get you, your family, your team, your friends, go down there and support and have some fun and get out and have some exercise, all right? Good job by the seniors at the Sharks, man. All of us alumni, we're all proud of you guys. All right, I am super proud of my buddy, Trisha May Marquez, because you may have seen a report I did a couple weeks ago. She's opened a new bake shop over at Payless in the Micronesia Mall. And you know what? I love a good croissant. And Trisha is making amazing personalized cakes, croissants, pastries, cookies, donuts. So make sure to swing by because on Saturday, Trish is having her grand opening. It's at 10 in the morning. So please swing by. Tell her congratulations. She's a young business person, had this vision, made her dream come true, and she is making absolutely amazing baked goods. She started out with French pastries, and she has really gone all out. And she's got a really, really good team over there, family-run business. Congratulations to our friend Trish for launching that business. All right, and then Tanai Animu 2, right? This teaches you about how important the water is to our Pacific Island culture, our heritage, how important it is functionally, what it means to us, both symbolically and purposefully. And it's going to be at the 10th. This is an exhibition started by amazing artists. And Nevaeh had a wonderful report. You can watch it right now on our YouTube channel at KUAM News. But make sure to swing by the Guam Museum and check that out because it's really, really moving stuff. I know Nevaeh is still talking about it to this day. It's really good stuff. All right. Good stuff also are your birthday shout outs, and we are doing that right now.
Birthday time, everybody. All right, let's do this. And happy birthday number 55 to Emily Untalan. She is blessed with 55 years of life today. A beautiful woman, your shout out says, and we love to celebrate her. She gets more beautiful each year, even when God tests her strength, and she's come face to face with her fears. She still shines as bright as ever, a light that will never dim, beautiful on the outside and the most beautiful thing within. That is a poetic shout out. Your family says we wish you the best wife, mom, and grandma a happy birthday number 55, and we love you from your husband, your kids, and Dre and Drew. And happy birthday to Miss Bella. May you have the very most wonderful, blessed birthday ever, coming from a very, very proud mama and papa. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com.
And that's your primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a safe evening and stay beautiful. Every year starts with a blank page and ends with stories that stay with us. Stories that shaped conversations, sparked change, and reminded us why we do this.
Not every answer came easy,
but every story mattered. We asked the tough questions,
turned the page on challenges,
and followed the facts wherever they led.
From early mornings to late nights,
bringing you the full picture.
Coffee break's over. This chapter needs all of us.
Because the biggest stories are never told alone.
Big stories.
Bigger moments.
The ones that tested us.
And the ones that brought us together. From breaking news to defining moments.
That's a wrap on 2025.
And here's to writing our next chapter.
12 months, 365 days, 8,760 hours, unlike any other in our beloved island community's rich history. Half a day, everybody. Welcome to That's a Wrap 2025 edition. We are KUAM News. And ladies, so good to see you here for what has become a KUAM tradition.
Yes, we're starting new traditions of our own every single year.
Absolutely. So I'm Jason Salas, and primarily this year, even though each and every one of us, we all cover a variety of beats here, happily so at KUAM, and we do it for all of you guys. I've primarily covered sports, military affairs, and business matters.
Yep, and you do it so well.
Thank you.
Half a day, everyone. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus, and I primarily cover education and health.
Half a day, everyone. My name is Nevaeh. I usually cover, the legislature, what's going on in politics across the island, but sometimes we get to do some fun stuff with cultural things going on across the island, but yeah, that's what I do.
I'm Jonagan Charfres, and I cover I guess basically what needs to be filled, but also public safety and Department of Parks and Recreation and a lot of the cultural stuff as well too.
Right, and I'm Mitsuki Hirayama. I primarily cover the environment and tourism, and I feel like we pretty much, all of us share the crime beat and any other that that we need to take over.
Yeah. And the wonderful thing about working at KUAM and, like as kind of like the older guy here in our team is every year is completely unique. This year had its challenges, this year's had its opportunities, this year had a collection of indelible images, unbelievable sound bites, incredible moments, good times, bad times, and everything. And you guys really had a handle on the pulse of the community and really did a good job. And so for the next hour, we are going to take you back and really show you what it was like from our perspective in being able to chronicle just an amazing year.
All right, so let's get into it, guys. Yeah, let's dive right in.
Let's go.
It.
Now, for a limited time, get our largest pizza at our lowest price. Just $9.99 for our classic New York-style pizza. It's 30% larger than our large, and at only $9.99 for carryout. Don't wait. Order now at your Island Pizza Hut.
GU Self-Storage, located in Harmon next to McDonald's, offers a variety of storage units. With rates starting as low as $95 per month, we offer complimentary use of dollies, push carts, Pines hand trucks, and pallet jack, with a fully covered loading and unloading areas, and ADA accessible units. We offer 24-hour CCTV surveillance monitoring, alarm, and individual pin-coded gate and door access, because your safety is our priority. GU Self-Storage, voted Pika's Best in 2024. Call 671-648-7867 today.
All right, so ladies, we know that there's never a shortage of developments in education, and we could honestly be here all day if we discussed everything that we've covered, because again, we all take turns tackling this huge beat. But some of the notable things that I think come top of mind for me specifically was Magalahan Harao Academy Charter School. They graduated their first cohort of fluent Chamorro speakers. And I just think that's a great way to kick off, when we look back at this whole year, like what a way to, cap off the year with our first cohort of fluent speakers. And then of course, when it comes to DOE, I don't even know where to start. But I think facilities definitely took over this year, in addition to decommissioning. And it's something that we've been tracking closely. I've covered countless Guam Education Board meetings where they were trying to decipher which schools to close. And of course, the board ultimately decided it would be Chief Brody Elementary School and Lyndon B. Johnson. So I just remember when we were gearing up for Brody's closing, I talked to you, Souks, about it because I know that you were previously a busy bee, and it was an emotional closure for the community. So I just wanted to ask you, how did you feel hearing that your school would be closing this year?
I mean, definitely it was a pretty sad moment. I did go to Tamaning and Chief Brody, but where I graduated from was Chief Brody. So it's really sad to see it close. As you mentioned, how the principal was saying how it affected really the wider Busy Bee community. But what were some of the moments that you saw when you were covering that? Because you were covering it for pretty while, right?
Yeah, so leading up to the closure, we did a walkthrough with then Principal Darlene Castro, and she was rightfully so very emotional. And a quote that stuck out to me was, there were so many hearts that were poured into the school. And, just reflecting on her time there and the countless people that have been raised in that school, it definitely had a huge impact. And, those students and those faculty and staff are now reassigned to different parts of DOE. So it definitely had a huge impact on the GDOE community.
And speaking of those impacts within education, there was a lot of double session that still happened this year. And it really affected the Sanchez community and of course the JFK community. But you were also following along with the rebuild Sanchez and of course the delay, right?
Right. So again, we know that we were entering this school year with double session again between John F. Kennedy High School and Simon Sanchez. And the Simon Sanchez community was really looking forward to the rebuild finally kicking off. We know that they were gearing up for the demolition and also the groundbreaking ceremony finally for their campus. And then there was a procurement protest that happened, which automatically triggers a stay in Guam law. So unfortunately, there's currently a pause in that whole process. And we did speak to students from Simon Sanchez, and they were rightfully so disappointed. But, you know, we just have to continue tracking on what's going to happen with that. We also know that legislation was introduced to reform procurement on Guam. So, again, it's just so many things to look forward to in 2026. But, you know, speaking of another huge agency on Guam, I just want to wrap up education with, we know that
before we wrap up, there was a major transition that was happening with Dr. Swanson, right?
Yes. And so he took the helm in 2023 and now he's stepping down. We do know that Dr. Judy Wanpat was elected by the Board of Education to be the new superintendent. And again, speaking of transitions and leadership, we know GMH.
Yes.
So can you just tell us a little bit more? We know that you've been tracking. Tell us a little bit more about what's been going on in the health beat.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, we all cover the beats as needed, and Suki and I kind of share what's going on with GMH and what's going on there. And so the GMH administrator, Lillian Posada, she retired after 6 years at the helm, and I was conducting her exit interview, and I could just really feel the passion that she had for her long career in healthcare and just her desire to see the hospital do better than it had been in previous years. And with the interim CEO and administrator coming in, Dr. Jolene Uggen, they really hit the ground running and just started with their budget talks. They did walkthroughs through the hospital. There were some hiccups with things going on with the power grid and everything like that, but it's been nice to see how consistent they've been with their capital improvement projects and trying to get the hospital in a better state so that it can better serve the island and, you know, maybe possibly evolve into a new hospital.
And I know that we'll be tracking that closely with 2026 just around the corner. I know we're going to continue to follow all of these developments very closely. It's something to look forward to. And another huge development was also the medical campus that was debated heavily this year. So we'll talk about that a lot more down the line. But again, it was a huge year, and we could really be here all year just talking about education and healthcare, and they often intersect. So yeah, we'll continue this discussion. So stay tuned, everybody. We can yap all day. Keep it here.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
All right, guys, before we move on, I just want to give a quick little thank you to our friends over here at the lobby bar at the Crown Plaza Resort for fueling us for this next part as we get into crime and industry.
Yeah. And we got bruschetta and pepperoni.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to dig in. Thanks, Coke, for that. You know, I know you were mentioning about how it was a big year for GDOE and the private or the public hospital. Yes. The only public hospital, Guam Memorial. And it was also a busy year for the Guam Police Department. They were kept busy with there were a lot of arrests at a time. There was a lot of death and homicide investigations. And there was one in April. It was a shooting in Pagachao. And for the past months, they couldn't find a suspect. They couldn't even release the name of the murder victim. And it wasn't until October the GPD put out a press release and even a press conference that they made an arrest at Donald Latno. And that's when we found out who the murder victim was. It was a guy named Carl Gargarito. And that one, I remember it happening early in the morning. We had Nick on the scene over there trying to get like a feel for like the community, because some of the shots actually hit some of the houses.
I remember
nearby.
like their front door.
Yeah. And luckily no one was hurt, you know. There was also the one that happened, and I know, Kobe, do you remember it? It was a stabbing in Sinahoya. It was a 61-year-old
Yes.
that had pulled up to the central precinct.
I remember that story kind of like changed overnight, because when we did break that story on our social media, it was a man had brought his friend who was injured in the car, and I think the following day, like that was the breaking story, was someone was brought to a precinct injured, like unresponsive, and then we find out the next day that it was actually a crime, right? Like it was the person who had brought that injured person there was the one responsible for the incident, and it was kind of just like one of those things where it's like, wow, like it's a heavy story, and I feel like it's important for people to know like that type of things are happening on our island, just to bring like awareness and all of that.
And I think what was a shocking part was that the victim was stabbed like 50 times.
Over 50 times,
So I think that brought a lot of comments from, you know, regarding the story. They found out it was a husband, and then, you know, the victim was his wife, and that one was like you mentioned, how it changed overnight. And the one I think that we all can really
like speak to
is the one that happened about 8 months ago. It was the Talafofo armed shooter, carjacking, police chase.
Yeah,
that was a
that like
one.
speaking
That
of
was-
changing stories.
Yeah, that was like a whole weekend of, I feel like, coverage from the whole team, right? Like from news to digital. Like I feel like everyone was on their toes when that was happening, because it was like wow, this is really like, it's happening, it's everywhere. Like we need to be on top of this to make sure like we have the right info, and like I just remember that weekend so clearly. Like,
yeah, it was hectic. And shout out to, again, Nick and Jason for getting that initial coverage out there, because that was something that the island was really looking at closely and looking to us to provide that information, because in all honesty, the community was panicked that there was a shooter on the loose. And I remember the next day, Suki, we were tag teaming, and Suki ended up at an apartment where she interviewed one of the witnesses. So can you just tell us a little bit more about that day? I just remember he was telling us about how he encountered him, so that was really interesting.
Yeah, so the person we spoke to was actually one of the relatives of a victim who was carjacked at gunpoint, and he was only 18 years old. But then the witness that we spoke to was telling us how he was actually standing like outside of his doorway on his balcony because he had heard shouting, and then when he looked downstairs in the parking lot, he just saw his relative, his cousin, actually like running away, because the guy Jeremy Pangilinan that we now know of. He had pulled out a silver revolver and, you know, said, "Give me your car or I'll shoot you." And of course, the victim did the smart thing and he ran away, gave him his keys, and Jeremy Pangilinan took off with the car. And I don't know if he ever got the car back, probably not, but they did end up finding him like all the way in the northern end of the village, right? So.
It was interesting. He even showed us the pathway that he took to get to the apartment, and he was hiding under the stairwell.
Staircase,
So it was just really interesting to get that firsthand account from people who were experiencing it. And really, we wouldn't have known if we didn't go out in the field and speak to the community.
Yeah.
And like how you bring that up too, because when we were going to another shooting, this one was at GPO. It was in a parking lot, and it had happened like late in the evening. So a lot of this, the gathering we were doing the following day.
Yes.
And I had sent you and Mitch over there to the parking lot, and you came across.
Yes, I actually, it just so happened that when we were gathering B-roll of the incident, we just so happened to run into a relative of the victim. And I believe the person that we were speaking to, he was the godfather to, or the victim, I'm sorry, was the godfather to his daughter. And he was just telling us, you know, how shocked he was to hear about it, and also just to find out about it through the media and through social media chats. We also got to talk to people within the community in the surrounding GPO area. A lot of them didn't even know that the GPO shooting had happened. Nobody heard gunshots, nobody heard sirens. So that's another big part of our job as reporters, is not just sharing the news through social media or through TV, but it's also telling our community in person, hey, this is happening right next to you if you didn't know. And just to have, you know, that was just a huge event to cover. It was a lot. Yeah.
And I feel like another major case this year was that the hit and run with the off-duty police officer.
Oh yeah. That too was, it had happened on the weekend, and then it was like a week almost later where we found out the information again through another press conference with GPD. He had hit a bicyclist, or he was on a scooter, and the accident happened. He, like, later on he came up with another idea that he got into an accident to stage it. To stage it. And then right now that's going through the investigative process. And I think that's what a lot of people were surprised about, that this man did that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's never an easy beat to cover. It's really unfortunate when we hear this devastation in our community. But of course, we do have to remove that initial feeling as reporters when we're doing our job. But undoubtedly, it's not an easy beat to cover, and it's really unfortunate.
And I also feel like this beat is, although it's really, really heavy and hard sometimes, it's sort of necessary for us to kind of put that type of content out there, because it not only brings like awareness, it also like it gives people like I should be aware of my surroundings.
Yeah. Before that incident happened, we actually had police officers from the Guam Highway Patrol Division come to our studio to speak on our podcast Off the Record, talking about I believe it was like National Drunk Impaired Prevention Month, something along those lines. But we had them come and speak with us about the importance of, you know, getting to your destination safely and not drink or driving under the influence, because at the end of the day, like, you want to be safe, and you also want to keep an eye out for be mindful of other drivers on the roads.
Definitely. It's a great way to tie up, I think, this thing. Just be safe, and again, we're here to keep you all informed and to do our part in keeping the community safe. So